Daily Dispatch, Day 95, The Grateful Deadhead. The mind-numbing boredom continues, while the rest of me remains grateful I've gotten this far. I'm always worse on a weekend. As I've noted before, the weekend was when I accessed the rich spot, via the 4B2J protocol. 4 beers, 2 joints. Decades of habitual wiring aren't going to vanish in 95 days. The clinic was busy enough yesterday, and the project work kept me occupied. But once the tasks were done, the restlessness set in. Cognitively, I'm improving daily, so now it's just a case of ignoring the itch. With band practice dropped to once a week for the summer, I've lost that immediate anchor. My hunt for a new box set led me back to Peaky Blinders. I was reluctant to start it. I'm tired of cultural dramas with zero relevance to my own country's history. When they introduced the Glasgow Billy Boys in Season 6, they weren't on screen for 2 minutes before a Brummie character proclaimed he couldn't understand a word they said. Oh yes, that old chestnut. Let's be clear, the only reason we understand Cockney, Brummie or Geordie is because they've been beamed into our living rooms for a lifetime. The reason we are not understood is the exact opposite. Scottish voices are systematically thinned out on British TV, and a Scottish continuity announcer doesn't make it Scottish television. It's a bizarre form of cultural gaslighting. I've travelled all over the world and partied with dozens of nationalities over the years, people whose languages I couldn't even speak, and we communicated just fine. Do you know who the only ones are that ever seem to have a problem understanding me? It's the ones who've spent their whole lives convinced that anything outside their own narrow frequency is noise, innit? Where are the Glasgow Razor Gang box sets, or better yet, a drama explaining how this precious union actually came about? We could start with the Union of the Crowns in 1603. Moved to Oliver Cromwell, the Hammer of the Scots, always a popular figure in Scotland. The Darien Scheme in the 1690s and the Alien Act of 1705. It's odd how little of this celebrated history makes it to the screen. It was all done fairly and squarely, so surely we should all be aware of the facts, no? And while we're at it, let's have a Culloden blockbuster. Not a romanticised myth, but a forensic look at the reality. The forensic reframe. After the defeat of the Jacobites in 1746, the British state didn't just win a battle. They initiated a systematic dismantling of an entire civilization. The Statutes of Iona and the Heritable Jurisdictions Act stripped the chiefs of their power, while the Act of Prescription made the Gaelic language, the tartan, and even the bagpipes a criminal offence. It wasn't pacification. It was a state-sponsored cultural erasure designed to turn a warrior society into a labour source. I've mentioned before that 40% of my podcast listeners are based in the USA. That isn't just a random statistical quirk of the algorithm. It's a deep-coded historical echo. After the disaster at Culloden in 1746, the Highlands didn't just suffer a defeat, they suffered a systematic clearance. Those who weren't butchered on the moor or executed in the aftermath were often shipped to the colonies as indentured servants, effectively state-sanctioned slaves. Others were forcibly cleared from the land during the latter improvements, left with no choice but to cross the Atlantic. They carried their language, their music, and their resilience with them into the wilderness of the New World. To this day, that native engine is still humming in places like North Carolina. Every year, the Grandfather Mountain Highland Games serves as a living monument to that survival. A way for the descendants of the cleared to keep the culture of the homeland alive, even 3 centuries later. When I look at my listener data, I don't just see 40% USA. I see the map of a people who were scattered by force, but remained connected by spirit. Regulars will remember my trip to the Silver Bridge at Garve. The info board there claims the Redcoats built the bridge out of the goodness of their hearts to help the struggling drovers get to the market town of Dingle. There's even a wee picture of a cheery redcoat with a musket. In reality, those roads and bridges, the Wade roads, were military infrastructure. They were built to allow the British Army to move north rapidly and establish garrisons. It was about containment and control, not commerce. We are mushroom citizens, kept in the dark and fed shit. Meanwhile, there's absolute carnage at the local service stations as fuel deliveries become irregular. Let's not beat about the bush. An oil-producing nation should never run out of fuel. If it does, questions need to be asked of the management. Anyway, other than that, not much to report, really. The Daily Dispatch ends here, but the data continues. For the full forensic analysis, the daily metrics, and the complete 24-month roadmap, please visit deepseekandme.substack.com. The record is open. I'll see you at the next vlog.